Good morning. I am S. Anuradha, lecturer in Applied Life Sciences at CRR College for Women, Vatluru. Now I am going to deal animal biotechnology, that is zoology paper 5. So first let's see introduction to biotechnology. What is biotechnology actually? This is an entirely different paper for you because in the last 4 semesters you have studied pure geology, but this is an applied science. So what is an applied science? What's the difference between an applied science and a basic science? Applied science is constructed or it's developed mainly for the welfare of human beings. So this biotechnology means biology combined with latest technology. So this is purely meant for the welfare of human beings, that is for the benefit of human beings. Scientists have developed this applied science based on basic sciences like botany, geology, etc. Karoli Iraki is the father of biotechnology. Biotechnology is an applied science concerned with the manipulation of genes to produce desired products. What is this manipulation? Means making changes within the genes to produce our required products. We can combine two different genes from two different organisms to get a recombined product. Hence, this is also called as recombinant DNA technology or rDNA technology. So, it's nothing but a game with genes. rDNA technology is a technique used in genetic engineering. rDNA technology deals with the insertion of foreign genes. Insertion means addition of foreign genes. Genetic engineering involves deleting some genes from a genome. So the basic difference between rDNA technology and genetic engineering is rDNA technology deals with insertion of genes, whereas genetic engineering deals with deletion of genes, and rDNA technology is a technology that is used in genetic engineering. By using rDNA technology, we can bring about new producing capacity in any organism. For example, insulin production in E. coli. So, in order to understand the importance of biotechnology, let us see a basic common example which is very useful in our day-to-day life. That is the production of human insulin. So, we all know that diabetic patients are increasing day by day. So, every family has a diabetic patient. So, to overcome the needs of insulin, scientists have used this biotechnology to produce insulin hormone. We all know that insulin is a hormone that is produced from beta cells of islets of Langerhans of pancreas. Now, this insulin, the necessity of insulin is increasing day by day. And as an alternative, scientists have thought about pig insulin. The difference between pig insulin and human insulin is only 3 amino acids. So, scientists used pig insulin as an alternative for human insulin. As it is not easy to use pig insulin all the time, scientists have opted for an alternative, that is producing insulin hormone from E. coli bacteria. For this, they have taken a human cell. This is a human cell. This is nucleus. Nucleus contains the chromosomal material, that is DNA. So from the human DNA, they have isolated an insulin producing gene. This insulin producing gene is responsible for the production of insulin hormone in our body. They have taken E. coli bacteria, and this is a plasmid DNA. This plasmid is nothing but an extra chromosomal DNA. Extra chromosomal means the chromosome which is not present in the nucleus but it is present in the cytoplasm. So plasmid is nothing but an extra chromosomal covalently closed circular DNA. Three C's, remember, extra chromosomal covalently closed circular DNA is called plasmid. So scientists have isolated or they have extracted this plasmid DNA from bacterial cell. Now they have recombined this insulin producing gene into this plasmid DNA. This is a recombinant plasmid because it contains human insulin producing gene. Now this recombinant plasmid is inserted into the bacterial cell. So that inserted bacterial cell is called as transgenic bacteria. So this is the bacterial cell after insertion of recombinant plasmid. So this is called as transgenic bacteria because it consists of a transgene. Transgene is nothing but a gene which is transferred from outside. Now this transgenic bacteria is grown in a culture medium. So why scientists have chosen only E. coli for the production of insulin means this E. coli is a very useful or a very scientist friendly bacteria. That is, it's an experimental bacteria. It can be easily and simply grown within overnight. Within overnight we can produce thousands of E. coli cells, and also it occupies a very less space because microbe which is cannot be seen with our naked eye. So, so as it is a microscopic organism, it can be cultured to high numbers within a very limited space. That is, within a simple petri plate we can produce or we can cultivate so many number of bacteria, and the requirements, the food requirements or the nutritional requirements for the growth of this bacteria is also very simple. Just they require a nutrient agar medium. So for these reasons scientists have chosen E. coli as the bacterial source. After growing E. coli cells in the laboratory, we will destroy those E. coli cells and will extract insulin from the E. coli cells. So that's the way how insulin is prepared by using biotechnology. Coming to the applications of biotechnology. So biotechnology has wide applications in each and every field. First one is therapeutics. Therapy means treatment. So in therapeutics such as production of antibiotics, vaccines, etc., this biotechnology is widely used. So we know well about antibiotics. Similarly, vaccines. We are all now eagerly waiting for corona vaccine, isn't it? So this corona vaccine is also prepared by using biotechnology only. Next, coming to gene therapy. Therapy means treatment. Gene therapy means treatment with the help of genes. So here in this we'll remove a diseased gene from a human being and we'll replace it with a normal gene so that that particular person would be relieved from that disease. Next, coming to diagnostics. So diagnosis means when we go to a doctor, he'll first writes diagnostic tests such as blood test, urine test, etc. So this clinical testing and diagnosis is well acquainted with biotechnology. We all know the kits, pregnancy test kit, etc. These are very simple kits so that everyone can perform the test by their own in their homes. So such tests or such diagnostic kits are also prepared by using biotechnology only. Next, coming to food industry, a wide range of food products and beverages. The food products like bread, cheese, butter, yogurt, etc. Similarly, beverages, wine, alcohols. So all these food products are produced in huge amounts or in vast quantities by using microorganisms with the help of biotechnology. Coming to environment, waste treatment is done with the help of microorganisms only. Bioremediation. Bioremediation means cleaning of the environment or pollutants with the help of microbes. Next, energy production. We all are acquainted with biogas production and all, bioethanol, biodiesel, etc. So here also we use microorganisms as the source. Next, coming to the field of agriculture, forest and horticulture, biotechnology is used in the production of biofertilizers, biopesticides, etc. So what are these biofertilizers and biopesticides? So we all know about chemical fertilizers, urea, ammonia and all. But here biofertilizers are the fertilizers that are prepared by using organic waste materials with the help of microorganisms. So these microorganisms, they degrade the organic waste materials and convert them into a very fertile manure, which is nothing but a biofertilizer. And similarly, biopesticides. Pesticide is the one which kills pests. Side means killing. So the one which kills pests is called pesticide. Insecticide, the one which kills insects. Similarly, biopesticides are also prepared with the help of some algae, etc. Algae, fungi, etc. So, novel crop production. So, many new varieties of crops are being produced by using biotechnology. So, what are these novel crops? We already know BT cotton, similarly BT brinjal, etc. Now scientists are also trying to develop a variety of vegetables and fruits. So there are also some vegetables which smell the smell of a chicken soup. This is a boon for pure vegetarians. So similarly, tomato. It's a combination of potato and tomato. So, by consuming this vegetable, tomato, we can get the nutrients of both tomato and potato. So, like that, many novel crops are being produced by using biotechnology. Similarly, animal varieties are also being produced. For example, transgenic sheep, transgenic goat, and high milk yielding varieties of buffaloes, cows, high meat yielding varieties of goat, high wool yielding varieties of sheep, etc. All these are being produced by using biotechnology only. Next, coming to chemical intermediates like reagents, including enzymes, hormones, proteins, DNA, RNA, etc. Equipments like hardware, bioreactors, software and consumables that are used in biotechnology. So bioreactor, this is the most useful instrument in the field of biotechnology because all these are produced within a bioreactor. So we'll learn more about these bioreactors in our later syllabus topics. Next, coming to, these are all the basic concepts which you should know before going into the syllabus. Okay, so after having a basic idea on these, what is a cell, what is a DNA, what is the structure of DNA, then only you can enter into our syllabus topics because all the paper deals with manipulations of genes only. We already told that biotechnology is nothing but playing or manipulating genes. So we have to have a complete idea on what is a gene, what's a DNA, what's a chromosome, what's the structure of DNA and all that. So first let's just revise all these basic concepts once again before entering into the syllabus. See, every living organism is made up of huge number of cells. Cell consists of two parts, nucleus and a cytoplasm. So, genetic material is present in the nucleus of the cell. So, it may be a DNA or RNA. So, what is a gene? So, gene is a basic physical and functional unit of heredity. What is heredity? Heredity is nothing but the transmission of characters from one generation to another generation. So, we are having many features or characters of our parents. So, all these are inherited by us from our parents. So, how is this inheritance possible? This is possible only through the genetic material, that is DNA. So genes are made up of DNA. So nothing but the DNA structure has genes within it, as you see in this diagram. So this is a cell which has a nucleus, and this is the cytoplasm, and nucleus is the site for genetic material, and this nucleus contains chromosomes, and these chromosomes are made up of DNA, and some parts on DNA are nothing but genes. So genes reside within a DNA. Okay, so these genes are responsible for the synthesis of proteins. So we already learned about human gene. So human insulin production gene is responsible for the synthesis of insulin hormone. Similarly, for every protein, every hormone, our body has a number of genes in our DNA. So this gene is the basic physical and functional unit of DNA. So, this gene only is responsible for the production of every protein, every enzyme, every hormone in our body. So, this is the difference between a chromosome, DNA, and a gene. So, now let's study about the structure of DNA. So actually this is not within your syllabus, but you should know the structure of DNA to have a basic idea of biotechnology, because this biotechnology is entirely manipulation of genes. So these genes are present in DNA, so you have to know the detailed structure of DNA. So DNA is the genetic material that is present in the nucleus of the cell. It is a hereditary material which is transfers parental characters to the offsprings. It is made up of two strands. See, this blue one is one strand and red one is another strand. These two strands run in opposite directions. One strand, this blue strand, runs from 3' to 5' direction, whereas the other strand, red strand, runs in 3' to 5' direction. Okay, one runs from 3 to 5 and other from 5 to 3. So this is called anti-parallel nature of DNA. That is, the two strands, they run in opposite directions. Hence DNA is called anti-parallel. Each strand of DNA is a polymer. So each strand, it has two strands and one strand is a polymer. What is a polymer? Polymer. So it is made up of many monomer units. Mono means single, poly means many. So many monomers are joined together to form a polymer. So this DNA is a polymer, and it is made up of many monomers, and the monomers in this DNA structure are nothing but nucleotides. So DNA structure is made up of many nucleotides. So what is a nucleotide actually? Nucleotide, this is the basic structure of a nucleotide. See, it consists of three components. Okay, one is pentose sugar, second one is nitrogenous base, and third one is a phosphate group. So this is a pentose sugar. So pentose sugar is, pentose means it is made up of 5 carbon units. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So as it is made up of 5 carbons, it is called a pentose sugar. And this sugar is deoxyribose sugar in case of DNA and ribose sugar in RNA. So the sugar, the pentose sugar that is present in DNA is called deoxyribose sugar. So what is the full form of DNA? Deoxyribonucleic acid. So why it has this name? Because this is having a deoxyribose sugar in it. Hence it is called as deoxyribonucleic acid. As RNA is having ribose sugar, it is called as ribonucleic acid. Okay, this DNA and RNA are nothing but nucleic acids. Next, coming to the second component, that is nitrogenous base. So nitrogenous bases are organic molecules with nitrogen in linked structures. That is, they are having nitrogen as the major source. So there are 4 nitrogenous bases in DNA. They are adenine, guanine, thymine and cytosine. These 4 are called as nitrogenous bases. Adenine and guanine are called purines, whereas thymine and cytosine are called pyrimidines. Then the third component is a phosphate group. So this is nothing but a phosphorus ion with 4 attached oxygen atoms to it. So these 3 are the components that are present in the structure of a nucleotide. So a nucleotide is made up of pentose sugar, nitrogenous base and a phosphate group. So these 4 are nitrogenous bases. So this is the structure of DNA. So this is the double helical structure which is proposed by 2 scientists, Watson and Crick. So for their discovery, this Watson and Crick, as they have discovered the 3-dimensional structure or double helical structure of DNA, they were also awarded a Nobel Prize. So if we remove this helical structure for a better understanding, we'll have, see, these 2 strands like this. Okay, this is first strand of DNA and this is second strand of DNA. These 2 strands are nothing but they are made up, these 2 are polymers. This is one polymer, this is another polymer. We already learned that polymers are made up of monomers. So the monomers in this are nothing but nucleotides. So this is nucleotide, second nucleotide, third, fourth and so on. Similarly, the second strand is also made up of nucleotides. Okay. Now, we already saw the structure of a nucleotide in our last slide. This is the structure of a nucleotide. Now, so these nucleotides are arranged in these 2 strands. See, let's see the detailed structure of each strand here. So this is first strand, this is second strand. So one strand, see, this is first nucleotide. This is the this is the pentose sugar. This is the nitrogenous base and this is the phosphate group. So this is the structure of first nucleotide, second, third, fourth and so on. So we already learned that the two strands of DNA run in opposite directions or anti-parallel directions. So here this runs in one direction and these nucleotides they run in opposite direction. See the structure in the second strand. This is the nitrogenous base. This is the pentose sugar. This is nitrogenous base and this is phosphate group. So this is in opposite direction. The nucleotide here is in one direction facing upwards. The phosphate group is facing upwards, whereas this nucleotide, the phosphate group is facing downwards. So opposite. Now these are the nitrogenous bases. Always adenine pairs with thymine only, whereas cytosine pairs with guanine only. So these two are called as purines and these two are called as pyrimidines. So adenine always pairs with thymine by means of two hydrogen bonds. See here there are two hydrogen bonds. Whereas cytosine pairs with guanine with the help of three hydrogen bonds. See here there are three hydrogen bonds. So this is a rule. Adenine pairs only with thymine and guanine pairs only with cytosine. So this rule is called Chargaff's rule. So adenine, it does not pair with guanine or cytosine. It pairs only with thymine. So guanine also pairs only with cytosine but not with adenine or thymine. So the nitrogenous base of first strand joins with the nitrogenous base of second strand by means of hydrogen bonds. So these are the hydrogen bonds. Okay. These hydrogen bonds are the connecting links between the two strands. If we cut these hydrogen bonds, the two strands get separated. Okay. Similarly, this is a phosphodiester bond. This is a phosphodiester bond. That is the bond that is present between two nucleotides is called a phosphodiester bond. That is, the phosphate group of one nucleotide links with the second nucleotide or it is joins with the second nucleotide. So the bond that is connecting two nucleotides is called a phosphodiester bond. So this is one phosphodiester bond, this is second phosphodiester bond, third, fourth and so on. Similarly in this strand also is phosphodiester bond, second, third and so on. So within one strand of DNA, the bond that is present is a phosphodiester bond. And what are these bonds that are present in the middle of DNA? These are hydrogen bonds. Okay, so don't get confused between the two bonds. The bond that is present within the strand of DNA is a phosphodiester bond. The bonds that are present between the two strands of DNA are hydrogen bonds. So hydrogen bonds are connecting links between two strands of DNA, whereas phosphodiester bonds are present only within one strand. That's the difference between the two bonds. And that's all about this introduction about biotechnology, structure of DNA, structure of nucleotide, differences between a gene, chromosome and DNA. So if you have any doubts, you please ask through Zoom app. Thank you.